Hey, welcome to another episode of the Philosophy Podcast. I am your host, Controversy, and to my right, ladies and gentlemen, my co-host, none other than Mr.
Darren Love.
And together, we are the Philosophy Podcast. Thank you to you guys for tuning in to a brand new episode. Thank you for tuning in once again this week. And like we always say, what is on the agenda for this week, mate? What is today's
Hot topic.
That's it. What's today's hot topic, mate?
I thought we'd talk about perfection and purity.
Ah, good one.
You
I
know,
like that. So today, this week, this episode is all about
perfection and purity. And what is
That's it.
what is perfect? You know.
Mm.
I mean, I'm not. Well, I think I'm perfect, but I'm not. I'm not. I'm more perfect than I was yesterday because I've learned a few new things. But I don't think anyone's really perfect, are they?
No one. No, nothing or anyone is perfect, you know. Everything is, you know.
I don't think even nature's perfect because it's all of created humans for one. You know, and
Yeah.
I don't know. I just don't think everyone's, I mean, I think everyone's aiming to be perfect in life.
Yeah.
You know, what is the perfect human being? That's the question, isn't it?
Mm.
I mean, you could be a good soldier, couldn't you? A perfect soldier.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's interesting, isn't it?
Mm.
I mean, I look at water as being pure.
Yeah.
You know, that's pure, isn't it?
Well,
sort of like, well, it can be. If it's fresh.
Yeah.
That is, and clean, basically.
Not contaminated or yeah.
So really, being clean. I mean, that's one thing I do enjoy being, actually.
Me too.
Try to keep myself as clean as possible in life.
It's such a nice feeling, isn't it? It's like when you get out that shower every day, you dry off and get yourself ready, and brush your teeth and whatever else, and
definitely.
and then when you're ready for the day, it's like you just feel on top of the world kind of thing, ready to go, like ready to face the world, ready to one less thing to do. I'm clean, I'm fresh, ready to go. Next task,
Well, to be honest, I do not feel like like being dirty one bit. Do you know what I mean? I clean my hands quite a lot during the day. Do you know what I mean? I clean it. As soon as because I don't really sweat. Some people sweat a lot, alright, but I'm one of these people that don't sweat much. To be honest with you, when I talk about sweat, right, it reminds me of Prince Andrew.
Ah, yeah.
But no, I don't sweat.
Yeah.
I don't sweat a lot.
Yeah.
Right. But some people sweat a lot. It's funny, but no, it's interesting, because you do sweat actually the more you get older.
Yeah.
The older you get, the more you sweat apparently, the more you smell actually, I mean, a baby, for instance, when they're first born, they smell quite sweet.
Always, babies have, their mouth, everything, they don't get any, like, bad smell in their mouth, or, like, the mouth, like you said, they don't smell, they just have a smell about them, like a baby, but it's not,
you think about it, when
it's like a clean smell, I don't even know how to describe it, it's like a clean smell, it's like a fresh smell.
Unless they do a poop, of course.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Then you can smell it.
Yeah.
And you think, oh dear, I mean, that's the first thing you can smell, isn't it, with a baby, I mean, normally they cry.
Yeah.
Sometimes they don't actually,
Not always, no.
But when they're asleep and they got a bad nappy, they don't normally cry. It's only when they wake up and they start feeling uncomfortable and they start crying.
They start noticing it. Yeah, especially when they're young. Sometimes as well, like that first, when they're very young, obviously, and they first start, having bowel movements and stuff in their nappies and stuff like that. Obviously, if they've been let's say they had a bowel movement at about 1 o'clock in the morning, right, while they're asleep. And by the time they wake up at 5 o'clock, let's say they wake up at 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, they've already been wearing that nappy for like 4 or 5 hours. If you see what I mean. So that must be uncomfortable. So you can kind of understand why they would cry, because it'd be like, that's been there for 4 or 5 hours, like literally on their skin contact, if you see what I mean, on their skin for a few hours, if you see what I mean, you know. And obviously it's.
I mean, the first baby, first time a baby does a poo, it's green, isn't it?
Green, yeah. Yeah.
You know, so it's funny, it's interesting in a funny way, you know.
And
but I don't want to be.
I'm not
I don't want to be
yeah.
talking about poo, you know.
Yeah.
It's too long.
Well, speaking about purity, though, children in my eyes are pure, if you know what I mean.
They are, yeah.
They're children, young, especially young adolescents, children that are completely independent on their parents, etc. 100% have no. To me, they're just that innocence is purity. You know that.
They don't know, do they? Much.
Ignorance is bliss in that sense.
Way, yeah.
You know, that innocence. You know, is
sometimes,
beautiful. You know.
You know, sometimes I mean, I don't. I'm one of these. I don't want to know everything. Okay, that's for sure. You know, so you get some people that think they know everything. Do you know what I mean? But you know, there's no way you can know everything for one, all right? But I don't want to know everything, all right? I think you got to choose what you know in life. You know, do you know what I mean? But talking about sweat again, all right. It's interesting, you know, like, because when you're a baby, you don't really sweat much. To be honest with you, yeah, you don't. Maybe only a little, you know, if you get hot, maybe. You know, I don't know about that. But I mean, what I'm trying to say is, it's only really when you start getting to a teenager you start sweating a lot more, you know. And I think it's all to do with sexual hormones and all this.
Oh yeah, all those things play a part.
You know, I mean, you don't realise it when you meet a woman for the first time. You know, when you're young, smelling and all this is all part of, you know, the chemistry. If you see what I mean, you don't realise it, but I mean, animals and birds, they're always smelling each other. Do you know what I mean? It's a very important thing to them, you know. And I just saying, the older you do get, the more you will sweat in life, you know. And when you get to a very old person, you need many baths. Let's put it that way. Do you know what I mean? Because you're just smelling more.
Yeah.
You know, that's the truth, you know. And that's the horrible thing about getting old. You do smell more as you get older. You know, but it's quite strange how when we're first born, we smell pleasant. And then as we get older, we can smell unpleasant, you know, unless you keep yourself clean, you know, which that's one important thing to me, you know, like keeping myself clean at all times, you know what I mean? Being as pure as possible.
Yeah.
I mean, even the tap water we drink nowadays, you know, I mean, a lot of people are too scared to drink it, aren't they, nowadays, do you know what I mean? You know, and we all want pure water, don't we, to drink, you know? Yeah. Pure water will make you feel pure, I think, to be honest with you.
It's better to drink spring water.
You know, I'm finding actually I am starting to drink a bit more water.
It's more expensive, you know, because you have to buy it, you know, I buy like spring water.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's obviously an added cost to everything else, but I think it's worth it, you know, that spring water, they say spring water is the best water for you, you know, so.
Of course it is, you know, I think like water is very important, we don't realise it, but if you drink clean water, you're going to feel very, very good.
And you can also buy some really good water filters today as well, online, you know, you can find some really good ones, you know. Obviously you have to, you know, have a good look and, you know, check the reviews, and, you know, all that type of shit before buying one. Obviously you want to make sure you're getting something that's real and something that's really going to, you know, remove like the heavy metals, all these kind of stuff from the water that could be toxic to your body over time, you know. As we already know, there's a lot of like fluoride and different things in the water, you know, that's been proven over the years, you know, things that are considered like a neurotoxin. You know, fluoride is considered a neurotoxin, and that means, you know, anything neuro means to do with the brain, neurological. It's toxic for the brain, you know.
I mean, I'm starting to drink a bit more water now, you know.
It's good for you. Even me, I try to, like I said to you before, I try to drink a few litres of water every day, you know. Whenever I'm thirsty, I try to drink water throughout the day, you know. I do try to break it up, of course, because obviously water gets a bit boring if you're just drinking it all day long, you know. So I try to have a few cups of tea or whatever else here and there to try and, you know, break up.
Well, today, this is not water here, it's actually sort of rum and coke.
Yeah.
And I'm celebrating your birthday today, aren't I?
That's it. And this here is Magnum and Red Bull. Magnum and Red Bull. Nice, nice, you know, nice concoction, you know.
So yeah, celebrating your birthday, you know, and I think like the older you get really in life, you know, you do, like you think like next year when you know, when you're a little bit older, whatever, you'll be, you know, you'll have so many experiences this year, you'll be a bit more wiser next year. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's quite incredible when you think about it like that, you know. You know, you'll be. I mean, I'm starting to drink more water now, you know, because I'm getting older. I've got to start looking after myself. Do you know what I mean? I've got to start thinking, you know, my body's talking to me more. I think, you know.
Yeah.
You know, I need to slow down a little bit now. Do you know what I mean? I can't run about like I used to do. You know, when I was little. You know. I mean, that's the thing. When you're young, you've got so much energy, aren't you?
Yeah.
I mean, I went to the duck home yesterday, yeah. And what day was it? It's sort of like Easter Friday, was it? No, you know, whatever, yeah. You know, and anyway, I went there just for a walk, whatever, and there's a little duckling there, you know, and I was feeding it, whatever, and there's only one there, so it's only just been born, you know what I mean? It's only a day old, whatever, but you think like, the chicks, they got to grow up in 1 year, you know, you know. But it looks so pure, but it's going so fast. You know, it's moving around and it's exploring, you know. Everything's brand new to this chick. Do you see what I mean? It's brand new. You know, it's all pure and brand new. Everything it's looking at, it's new. You know, it's a new memory, basically, do you know what I mean? But when the duck is a little bit older, you know, well, it sort of becomes adult in 6 months' time. Do you know what I mean? The parents don't want to, you know, can't look after it. You know, whatever. It just goes on its own way. If you see what I mean. Yeah. You know, where adult humans, they take a lot longer, don't they? You know, to sort of mature, I suppose. You know, and be independent, basically. You know. But you know, you think about all the birds, all their chicks. You don't see them very long. You know, and next minute they're like adults, do you know what I mean? So that's it. But it's just interesting where when you're young, everything's new, you know, and you can remember being young yourself, yeah? Yeah. When you used to move around like this really fast, you know what I mean? And your mum had to keep an eye on you, you know?
Running around from morning till night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and it's interesting where as we get older, we do slow down. You know, we haven't got that energy in us anymore, you know. I feel stronger, that's for sure, you know, but I don't feel like I can run like I used to, do you know what I mean? If you see what I mean. I've got so much stamina, I suppose, or I suppose that if I started jogging, yeah, you know, I think you've got to make yourself fit.
You have to.
You know.
It takes time, like, and it's going to be uncomfortable for the first couple of weeks. First few weeks that you do it, it's going to be uncomfortable. You know. You're going to might find it hard, especially if you haven't done any kind of like physical exercise for a long time, any like strenuous exercise anyway, for a long time. It's difficult, you know. But I think once you get past those first couple of weeks, it's you start to feel stronger and better for it, you know.
But you know, even with exercise, yeah, you can overdo it.
You can do, yeah.
You know, you can take it so seriously that you get up in the morning and think, right, I've got to do some, you know, do this, badminton, whatever, you know, and then do this, you know, and just day after day, right, yeah. And your body can't, you know, it needs to relax sometimes. You know what I mean? You know, it's a funny thing. You know, you can't. You know, I mean, I feel quite strong actually, yeah. Yeah. And the last time I actually did some serious work, I think, you know, some hard work that was, a removal, was about 6 years ago. You know, and I don't think like I could wake up tomorrow and do another one. Yeah. You know, I just don't think I'm as fit as that anymore. Yeah. But I still feel strong. You know, I feel maybe I could, if you see what I mean. I mean, I wouldn't be as strong as I was. Let's put it that way. Yeah. You know. Yeah, it's, you know, I do definitely feel stronger than I used to, and wiser in life. Definitely wiser, definitely. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. you know, I know better now in life, you know. And, you know, hopefully in 10 years' time I know even better than I know now, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
You know, I'm not aiming to be perfect in life, I don't think, you know. I don't think it's much fun being perfect in a kind of way. You know, you get these perfect people all the time, but I don't think they're happy, if you see what I mean, trying being perfect, if you see what I mean. You know, it's not a perfect world, is it? You know, reality itself, you know, we're dying, you know, and whatever. And I just don't think anyone can be perfect.
No, everyone is flawed in some way, shape or form, you know. Even the people that are trying their utmost best every day to live as righteously and as positively and as cleanly as possible. Even these people struggle occasionally with, you know, whatever might be, you know. Everyone has everyone has temptations, everyone has things that can cause them, you know, things that, you know, they might like to do or they might like to indulge in, or whatever the case may be. That might, you know, people, you know, they might know that's not necessarily the best thing for them, but, you know, people still do these things. So
well, I think like
everyone's got their own demons, as they say. You know, everyone's fighting their own battles, their own demons, as they say. And there's nothing wrong with striving to be the best version of yourself every day. You know, but just also remember that when you do mess up or you do fuck up, not to be too harsh on yourself, but look at it like a lesson, or something that you can learn from. You know, because I've been guilty. Even recently, I've been guilty of that. You know, a couple of times. Recently, like, I'm usually very, very focused, but a couple of times I had a few days recently where I felt like I just, you know, like a couple of days just went by and I just hadn't like done a couple of things that I wanted to do, and I was just felt like I'd lost my focus for a second, if you see what I mean, and I just had to kind of like remind myself, like, you know, refocus again. Like, you had a couple of days lapse of just not really, you know, focusing on much, but now it's time to, you know, kind of, you know.
I think it's quite difficult to be a human being, you know what I mean?
Oh, it is, you know, it is, you know.
You know, there's so much to learn in life, isn't there? You know, I mean,
so much to do.
Today they expect you to learn about computers, you know, so that's another thing you got to take up, do you know what I mean? And then you got to, you know, you just got to deal with so many things.
There's a lot.
Being a human being.
Yeah.
You know, just sort of each day that comes along. And I think it's difficult for people to be perfect, you know what I mean? Or it's just not. Even being too perfect is not perfect, if you sort of mean. You know, you could be too perfect. People don't like that, do you know what I mean? Like, if you're absolutely perfect, you know, you're always on time, do you know what I mean? And all that, do you know what I mean? And people get angry with it after a while, do you know what I mean? That you're too perfect and too proper in a funny way.
Sometimes too, that's people's insecurities too, though.
Yeah.
If you see what I mean, because sometimes that person might just genuinely be like that. Because I know some people who are just genuinely like that, who will always be on time, always be.
Yeah, but I'm talking about like being perfect. Like, some people sort of like, they get out of bed, right, and then they change their pillowcase, you know, and put a new pillowcase, you know, and get their bed ready all for tonight, and then they go to work, you know, and they get. Do you know what I mean? They're really perfect. You know, and they're really perfect, their routines as well, do you know what I mean? You know, and all this sort of stuff, you know, and they're absolutely prim perfect. You know, you know, something annoys them if something goes wrong, do you know what I mean? That takes them out of their little program.
Routine,
You know, whatever, you know.
Yeah.
I just don't think anyone can be perfect in this life, you know. That's all there is to it.
No, of course, yeah, and even the most, even the most hardworking, driven, motivated people out there, I'm sure they have days where they lapse occasionally, you know. Because like you said, you know, no one is perfect, you know, everyone is flawed, everyone is a human being at the end of the day. Sometimes we, you know,
another thing
sometimes we have great days, sometimes we might have a you know, day that's not so great.
Another thing we all got to deal with is sicknesses, isn't it? You know,
and all these things.
That come along, they creep along, you know. You know, sometimes I mean, I hadn't had the flu for a long time, thank goodness, you know, but like, next week I start getting it, you know, do you know what I mean? I know what it's like because I've had it. I think we've all had it, you know. We all know what it's like, and it really sort of paralyses you out of you know, you just basically got to focus on getting better, basically, you know, and you can't really focus on your dreams anymore, or do the things that you want to enjoy, you know. You're in bed, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Trying to get better again, you know.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's what I mean, you know, like even the most perfect person in the world, or the strongest person in the world today, or the wisest person in the world, can sink down with illness tomorrow, or the flu, you know, and or break his leg or fall downstairs, you know, or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's not more like, you know, it's not likely that someone's going to fall downstairs if they watch what they're doing. Do you know what I mean? You know, you really have got to be careful. When you go out, you got to watch where you're walking. You got to focus. You know, I believe that it's really important to enjoy the moment. That's what I believe in now. You know, I wish I knew this before. If you don't enjoy the moment, I think it's easy